Hello everyone, it's Ashwin Rao. Today's video brings you a maker that I consider amongst the world's best boot makers, yet has flown under the radar while others such as Flame Panda, Onderhood, Lars from Ostmo, and others have gained international recognition for the high quality of their work. This is a boot maker that's newer to the scene and therefore less well known, but has incredibly well designed, innovative style, and you can get them in a relatively efficient timeline. This, my friends, is King's C-016 side zip boot. So let's take you through this innovative pair of boots that I think is amongst the most beautiful pairs that I've ever set my eyes upon, and I'm excited to share with you. Now that we have the boots on my work stand, I wanted to take you through a closer look at some of the details of this marvelous shoe, which I think demonstrates some of the very best craftsmanship in boot making currently available on the market. So as we first pull up this model here, you can see the refinement in the shoe. This last has a slightly upturned nose or toe spring, but it's very gently done and elegant. If I bring the shoe up, you can see that it really has a very nice, gently rounded profile that reflects the shape of this last, which is a round-toed, slightly asymmetric last. Here is the strip down the middle that you often see in models from, say, Clinch, but needless to say, a very nicely done, well-centered boot, and just the details are quite impressive. So if we pull in further here, getting into those details, you can see how cleanly the edges of this leather are skived down and then stitched down using a machine stitch with a relatively high stitch density. I love the shape of the heel cup. It's very rounded, and I love the fact that the heel is neatly shaved down to match the pitch and curvature of that heel cup. Yet it is a more tapered heel, doesn't have that more Cuban or curved side woodman style heel. This is a tapered heel, somewhat reminiscent of Western style boots without so much of that angle. To me, this often looks a lot like a roper boot, though ropers don't have the side zip, which this particular boot does. You can see the zip here on the side that then reveals the inside of the shoe. Just a beautifully done job there to match the zip with the two rows of stitching along the edge here, and then this U-shaped stitch down at the end that butts up perfectly against the edges of both the heel counter and the front of the shoe here. It's work done to bring the sole and the edge of the sole along the arch of the shoe to create a more supportive arch, and the stitch work done that essentially takes the sole. This has to be done by hand. This is not capable of being done by a machine, to bring that stitching up to the edge of the shoe here and create this very unique arch support mechanism. If I pull in closer, you can see how impressive the work is done to transition this into the heel here, and then the gentle curve done to shave down the leather of that heel stack to blend in to this leather heel stack here. Something I've never seen done before by even some of the best makers. There is a double row of stitches here done in the hand welted manner. This is a flat welt, if I'm not mistaken, stitched down with a high stitch density and a matching colored stitch. That's almost a whiskey or a light brown stitch that really nicely complements the color of the upper here. Really elegant design work done to create this upper joint between the outer leather and the inner lining and create a unique collar profile. I think that the overall aesthetic of this shoe, you can see how nice the color and shine has been applied to this Merriam horsebutt leather, which is in a whiskey color. There's at least 7 or 8 pieces of leather that create this heel block here. If we transition to the sole of the shoe, you can see that Sue has used a Vibram explosion sole guard here that is nailed, and a nice Triumph toe plate, and then a Dr. sole that's reminiscent of the half sole. You can also see the shaping done on this heel block with this curved edge that then flares out to a sharp edge right here. These are all the subtle details that I find elevate this shoe in so many ways. These are details that most people might not pick out. Who's going to look at a heel block? But those who are really into shoemaking and craftsmanship are going to be impressed by the asymmetry here, the sharp edge here, the curved edge here, the multi-stacked heel, the tapered heel block, the transition from the heel block to the waist of the shoe, and the bringing up of the sole and the waist using hand welting to create this unique arch support. How the leather is brought over so close to this piece of leather and joined together, how the stitching all blends together seamlessly in this very complicated joint right here. So a roper style boot, this is about the tallest boot that I'm going to own. I believe this is either 8 or 9 inches in height, and I'm going to be really enjoying wearing this and breaking it in and seeing how this horse butt leather from Merriam Tannery, which I've found rolls really well in other pairs, how it breaks down and ages on this particular pair. But in my mind, this is potentially the nicest piece of footwear in the heritage boot segment of my closet that I own. And that includes brands such as Onderhood, Flame Panda, Ostmo, Midas, and others. There's just so much going on here in the details that it's hard to argue how anybody would think otherwise, that this could be one of the nicest designs that one could own if you want a boot with this aesthetic. Hope you're enjoying this first look, and I'll talk to you soon.